Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome to Super Sunday on Apex Racing TV. And of course, can only mean one thing. The Weekend Warriors are back for another double header of fun, excitement and drama. And this week for round 5, we head to the rolling hills of Salinas County on the Monterey Peninsula. And well, it's the one, the only, Laguna Seca. I'm Tim Cox, we've got Smoothie Kuma in the virtual production trailer. Charles Blachal will be joining me very shortly, but first off, before we get underway, let's take a little look at the championship standings. First off, into Spec 1, Christian Banker leads the way there and starts to open up a really healthy margin at the top of the table, some 50 points clear of Jason Green. And of course, this category, 4 different winners from the opening 4 rounds so far. Overstreet lies in 3rd, and into Spec 2, Paul Stevens there is at top of the table with Mr. Consistency, realistically. But it's not as strong as margins what you see in Spec 1, with Harris only some, 40 points behind, with Saunders only 3 points behind him. It is tight at the top with Fernando Steno, Bodas, Bosgood, Verbruge and Carter running out your top 10 there. Crossing to the Masters now. This really blew wide open last week because quite a few drivers elected to, I don't know, watch some much faster and more aerodynamic cars go around the track instead of participate. They know who they are, but quite a few of them are back this week, which is good to see. But despite all that, Antonio Ray still leads the category. Yugmani in 2nd, but that gap only 5 points adrift between the pair of them. And then we've got a bit of a gap of, just shy of 30 points to Alan Gassis. Jim Brewster, winner last time out at Mosport, lies in 4th, but promoted up to 4th. It was really close, that gap up on them. Richard Coffey and Wellbot equal on points for 5th. And it's Laurie Toms Ray, who finished 2nd last week, and Murakami rounding out your top 10. Charles, welcome along. I mean, this track is quite possibly, this is saying for something, me being, from the opposite side of the pond to you, has probably the most recognisable corner in the whole of World Motorsport.
Yeah. Tim, thanks for having me in. Yeah, it's the corkscrew as we see right here with Christian Kabanka. Yeah, five stories. Just imagine a 5-story building and you falling off the side of it. That's the elevation change coming through that corner. Yeah, this track is, obviously it's a free track on iRacing service. Legendary, lots of amazing action has gone on here in every type of motorsport imaginable, from all the way down to SCCA, all the way up to IndyCar. So, looking like we're going to have a pretty big grid today for the Formula Fords. So, should be a pretty exciting race.
36 is what I'm roughly calculating there. There's 4 drivers yet to put times in, but Charles, you've teed this up beautifully without even realising you do it. Samuli's done it even better. So, you mentioned the SCCA. We cut to Morgan Burkhardt. Now, this young man, wow. So, at the real life SCCA runoffs, managed to break a 20-year curse, I'm going to call it. Stuck it on pole as a rookie. The first time in 20 years that has happened. We've seen him regularly in the Ray Esports League that's midweek here on Tuesday night or Wednesday morning for some of us on my side of the pond here at Apex Racing TV. But yeah, I mean, what a result. And, well, pole position by 3 attempts at the moment.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of watching Morgan. I've done a couple of fill-in stints in the Ray Esports League on Tuesday nights, and he's just quick. In every car he jumps in, he's just fast. So, yeah, it's obviously is no shock for him to be up on the pole here, barring any catastrophe, he's probably the odds-on bet to win. But we've got obviously some very fast drivers in here that are, I don't think they don't run the Formula 4s. I don't think. I'm trying to remember during the week. I know they run the MX-5, the Spec Racer, but I'm not sure they run the Formula 4. So we've got some. Yeah, we've got some. We've got some obviously some veteran drivers in here who run this car week in and week out. So yeah, he's quick, but we'll see if the vets can tame him a bit.
Yeah, these pesky young whippersnappers showing everyone how it's done. But there's the commentator if there ever was one, and a
Indeed.
spin from Andrew Benner behind as well, no less. They'll never mention actually it's another driver I need to mention. It's new to the series. It's Dave Ogburn, currently lighting 11th. Now, this gentleman, a little bit special about him. So, he was in a 4-car breakaway with Morgan Burkhardt with the last 4, well, for pretty much the entirety of the runoffs. Also, he is a real world, well, SRF, hopefully we'll see him later on, driver. And also, he's a Goodyear test driver as well. That's his main occupation. I mean, getting to destroy tyres for a living, it's not a bad show, really. I know someone else who does it for Michelin, and yeah, just casually just rubs off. Yeah, just flew over to Spa and took a Porsche 911 GT3 round there for a few laps and just wrecked the tyres each lap to see what would happen for him. Hard life, isn't it, for some?
I mean, it's some people toil, and do manual things, and then some people are like me and have office jobs, and then some people just drive cars for a living. And so, I mean, if you can get away with that, I think I'd probably enjoy it.
Oh yes, definitely, that is for sure. We've got 3.5 minutes apologies, left on the clock in qualifying. So Alan Degassi is top of Masters pole right now in 8th. And also, well, Ogburn, I mentioned him, he's in Spec 2. Now, I think that's a little bit deceptive of the quality and the caliber of him to be in Spec 2. However, he is, as you should imagine, and should rightly be so, on pole in that category, 11th overall right now. But who is going to take it in these dying stages? That is a big question. Yet to set times. Actually, who takes the track are Saunders, Toms, Epe, he's a new driver, Jean-Paul Epe, and Egder Sanchinelli. Yet to head to the track. You've seen that, it's Bino. Currently 5th overall right now, Charles. Just got faster than anyone in Sector 3.
Wow, I mean, that's a really great result for Tabino. He's not normally up there, but like I said,
He's
this
done it
is
in Sector 4 as well just now,
wow,
Charles.
wow. He's on a flyer then, coming
I
down here to the
spy,
last corner.
my little eye, a new pole position potentially incoming here.
Ooh,
Let's find out though. As he crosses the line, watch it. It probably was shocking the first couple of seconds. But oh no, it's only good enough for second by 700ths of a
I
second.
mean, still a great lap though. You know, and that's like I said. I think for these drivers being on a free track, it's not like I think we had Sandown last week for Spec Racer, which was a great race, but it's not one of those tracks that are widely used. I think this kind of evens the playing field a bit because I think everybody gets out that probably drives during the week, because we do follow the iRacing schedule for the most part. And so they get out there and they can get on the grind and run 2 or 3 races and get really comfortable with the car and the track.
And for us older folk as well, Charles. I mean, this track has been in racing games since the dawn of time, really, hasn't it?
For sure.
Yeah. I'm talking, Gran Turismo 2. I think was the first one that came along in that, and that's my sort of first sort of knowledge of the circuit. Certainly before quite a few years before numerous of these drivers are actually born, which is scary.
Indeed. Yeah, indeed. It's been around forever, and like I said, it's used in all the real ones, so it makes sense that every game or sim would include it in
Charles,
their track
I'm going to
package.
cut across you because
Look at that.
who's 2 laps in a row goes second and then goes faster again. Yatabino.
Wow, great lap, 29.6. And it's still so close. 17 milliseconds faster than Burkhardt.
Who's into the pits, and he's not going to get out again. So he's done dusted for qualifying, so he won't start on pole. Tabino, I mean, realistically, looking at that time, and I'm not seeing any purple sectors from anyone else. I think that could well be good enough for pole position for him. Checking flag is out.
There we go. So who's ever on a flyer can finish the lap. And we'll see if anything comes up.
One to watch out for me, though.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was going to say, one to watch out for me is Alexander Wenger, who's currently fourth, third row of the grid. So second row. God, I'll get it out in a minute. Second row of the grid. I demoted him there. Highest I-rating driver in the field, Charles. 7,000. 7,130 if I'm being really pedantic here, but once you put those sort of numbers, I think the last 3 digits don't really matter too much. You can see the strength of field we've got here today. Spec 1, 4.4k, Masters 3, Spec 2, the inverted commas weaker of the two, 1,900, although that's very evenly spread across a lot of them, so they're all in and around that number.
Yeah, that's a really good strength of field, and so it's going to make for really exciting racing as you've got, 3 or 4 good drivers that are 6K or higher, and we can't rule out people like Jorg Monty sitting in P10 who's 6.3K. He's as a Masters driver, he's no slouch at all. He's always up front in these races. Megan Overstreet's only 4.4, but she's been really, really strong over the last couple of seasons for the Weekend Warriors leagues.
One driver well out of position, though. Well, 2 definitely, I would say so, are Antonio Ray starting 17th, Richard Coffey starting 19th. They're down from where they normally are. I'm just having a bit of a look through. Chris Murakami, I didn't even spot he was in the session, Charles. He's that far down. 24th he'll be starting, 12th row of the grid. That's a long way back for those drivers, and I think it's going to have to be a bit of a memey accent on the entrance into the corkscrew for maybe them to try and make up some positions, or even turn 6. I mean, that's a bit of a treacherous one, isn't it?
I was about to say you got to get through turn 6 before you get to the corkscrew, and that's basically it's the Laguna Seca version of the kink at Road America. it's very dicey.
It is indeed. Let's have a go through the grid right now. Yazbino put it on pole, right at the depth with a scintillating lap, beating Morgan Bearcard. They see to lock out the front row. Then we've got Kabanka and Wenger on row 2. Row 3 sees Overstreet and Hamanda line up alongside one another. And then it's Green and top qualifier in Masters, Alan de Gassius on row 4. Top 10 rounding out by Oliver and Marnie. Then we've got Dave Ogburn, who's the highest qualifier in Spec 2 in 11th. He's joined by Michael McConnell on row 6. Row 7, Thomas Renders and Andrew Banner. They've got Chris Montgomery next to Brewster with Race and Jacobson making up row 9, and row 10 and top 20 being an all-masters row of Coffee and Wallbolt. Series organiser, Stevie Ray starts 21st next to Philip Fernandez. Then we've got Fabrouge and Murakami on row 12. Row 13, unlucky for some, hopefully not for Nelson and Harris. Sal Webster, so Webber even, thinking of a British soap opera character there. That starts next to Jesse Bottas, and then on row 15 and top 30, rounded out by Stevens and Chris Scriven. Christopher Perez has got Kai Brendel for company on row 16. Row 17 is Toms and Saunders, although those two not setting times, and neither did Sanchinelli and Pepe. I think Toms has joined the grid. I'm not sure about the remaining 3 as to whether they're going to make it, and with the safety car due to move off very, very imminently, unless they pop in any second now. Well, there we go. It's rolling. No, very slow off the mark there, off top 2. We're off and running.
Give the safety car a little bit of a gap there. This first lap's going to be very, very treacherous. You're going to try and, you're coming down too wide. These drivers have a tendency to make it 3 and 4 wide. This is a wide track. It probably can support 3 and 4 wide in most areas, but the Andretti hairpin turn 1, 2. Very, very, very difficult. You got to get the right line through there. So I think it behooves everybody to try and get single file as quickly as they can and get that draft train started. And then we'll see a really exciting race from that point forward.
So, about tricky corners. Maybe they could, it's a lovely segue into our sponsor. Maybe they could do the assistance of Ray Phillips, the owner of Precision Data Analysis. Now, Ray has over 30 years of experience in motorsport and raced open-wheelers for almost 20 years of that time. He's found a new passion in helping others go faster and perfect their craft. He can fill the role of data and race engineer, and also as a driver coach, helping other drivers get the most out of data and video systems. Now, Ray was a data engineer and driver coach for a 2019 championship-winning Ferrari Challenge team, assisting multiple drivers on said team. Now, PDA also sells a wide range of data and video equipment that can help everyone from a high-performance education driver to a professional driver, or even a race team with multiple cars and drivers. No matter what you choose, customers get the information that they need to go faster and have a good time on track. PDA doesn't just help out in the real world, but also helps sim racers too go faster while staying within their limits. You can find out more about them by heading across to PrecisionDataAnalysis.com. That's analytics, sorry. I've got it's written wrong. Anyway, let's round that nicely. Safety car is in. We've round the final corner. And let's get ready to go racing for the first time in the Weekend Warriors this evening, as we are green and we are away through the Kingdoms turn 1, down to Andretti hairpin into turn 2. Hard on the brakes, everyone jockeying for position in these early stages. Look at that, 3 wides, plenty, even a bit of a 4 wide in the midfield there. And there's someone tagged someone around, and that is Wenger.
Yeah, I don't know if there was some contact there. I don't know if there was contact or if he just kind of lost the rear trying to get on the brakes. But definitely looped the car, and he's fallen well back in the field.
So move through now up towards turns 5 and 6. build the momentum you need to really get the maximum out of these cars heading up the hill. So easy to scrub and lose speed as Stevie Ray there going side by side with the Bruges heading up the hill, and also behind him Harrison Nelson side by side too. Everyone really going at it here, hammer and tong. These opening stages, and they're still not done. As they head it towards the corkscrew for the first time this evening. Can everyone make it through on this first pass? Especially when they're side by side like this, trying to be the last of the late breakers. But there we go, all making it through. A little bit gingerly for some, but they're through.
Yeah, I think that was probably a smart move to just get single file. The tires were still a little cold. It's tricky enough to just make it on your own through that corner. So yeah, it's good on them to just be a little patient. That's what you kind of need sometimes.
Lovely little move up the inside there from Andegasius to Ray Oliver on Andegasius with Green looking to follow him through, trying to find some space here. The slot it up the inside is Green and get the move done. Marnie saying, oh, there's a great big gap there. I want some of that too. Oh, wow, look at that. Degassi, space of 2 corners, drops 3 places down to 9th. Just looking through the field. Richard Coffey, I said he was out of place. He's at 5 spots already. Murakami at 5 as well. When I mentioned Antonio Race, he's actually dropped 1 place down to 18th. Still lots of racing to do here with, well, 38 minutes and, or just under, in fact, left on the clock. And, oh, someone's around there. Who is that of? Oh, that's Ray Oliver after that lovely little move into the final corner up the inside of Gassis. Yes. He's going to fall pretty much to the back now.
I think you're right. Yeah, it's okay. So the trick with deal. Did we have another spin? What was some more smoke? Yep. Antonio Race off the track.
And I think the other one was Chris Montgomery.
Wow, it's early damage for some of our what I would say would be pretty quick drivers.
People to watch here. So Race is a little bit skaty on entry. Oh, yeah. And then Montgomery had to check up, and Race just a passenger in all of that.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, the deal with we got another. Just hot
Montgomery around again. Oh, and Coffey after his great start is heading to pit road.
Yeah, Montgomery may have like suspension or wheel damage. He may have to just bring it into the pits.
So he's on with Coffey in the 930. Oh, he caught the curb and then gets rear-ended by, I think it's that Brewster. Yes, it is.
I think it is.
Bar a miracle, Jim Brewster won't be making it 2 wins from the last 2 rounds here tonight in Masters. As he falls down 12 places into 28th. So drivers do have 1 fast repair available to their name. Richard Coffey heading into the pits to utilise that at this fairly early stage, but he will need to stop as the drivers are limited on fuel. And looking at this, with him stopping in about 3.5 minutes, he will not get him home. He'll have to stop again. But back up the front though, Burkhardt leads from Tabino. That's happened this lap because Tabino last time around, Charles, set the fastest lap of the race so far. Nearest damn it 3 tenths quicker than Burkhardt.
Yeah, so obviously there's a little issue here. We'll see the lap times as they come through, and we'll talk about some of the track features here that seem to be catching some of the drivers out.
It's curbs, isn't it?
It's there. You know, it's not what we would say we would call a sausage curb. They're just kind of this little. Basically, it's an apex curb, and these cars. I don't think you're going to be able to deal with them very well. I don't think they like those curbs very much because they're a little bit higher than your standard, blue and whites that you see on apexes and exits. You kind of saw a little bit there. There's a little bit of a sausage curb as you see Overstreet kind of climb over it. So, and the other part of this is we've already seen a couple incidents in turn 6. It's just like we were saying, it's very tricky. You're uphill after 5, and then you've got, basically almost 90-degree kink to the left, and still continuing that climb uphill as we'll see Wenger coming in here. And it's just one of those momentum corners, right? You have to bleed a little bit of speed off, but you want to kind of carry as much as you can to keep that run going up the hill. Now you hit that inside curb, and you saw the
Breathe
results.
in, everyone.
Yeah. So as we get down here to the, they're trying to go too wide into the corkscrew, and that didn't
Oh, that's
work.
going.
Oh,
That was a lovely move from
it
Wenger
was.
there. I mean, just slot it between the pair of them and just showcasing exactly what you were talking about in terms of carrying the momentum up the hill. He did it with the two drivers in front of him when they're going side by side and battling. Squeezed his car up the middle of the pair of them, but got caught out by, and I'm not too sure who it was who tapped him, maybe Fernandez? No, yes, so Fernandez on his left. Oh, I mean, look, it just gets
Yeah.
better and better the more you watch it.
That was a great run.
Yeah, they outbreak, trying to outbreak one another. Wenger, the Engliston party.
Yep. Yeah, he was. He thought he had that battle cleared, and it turned out that they said no. We're going to see how deep we can send it, and the answer was too deep. So that's just kind of that was like you said, a prime example of turn 6 and what you have to do to be competitive here at the track. But if you catch that inside curve, you're going for a ride. If you get too wide, you're in the sand. Or if you catch that outside exit curve wrong, it will spit you back into the inside of that corner exit. As you see him take a little bit of the curve there, not too much. That was a nice run by Oliver coming up the hill.
Off camera, Kabanka did come off track and has lost third place of it. Overstreet now ahead and up into the podium positions. There she is. Oddly, Charles, I mean, normally it's a much bigger breakaway group. The top two, they've checked out into the distance, and now we've got these two. And then we've got another, well, everyone quite spaced out. A bit of unknown territory to what we normally see. You can see the track map there, and lap 6, a shorter lap here, 1 minute 30. At the best lap time in the racing conditions so far. But you can see those gaps really being showcased there from the track map in the top right corner of your screen. How spaced out we are at this early stage of the race. And I just wonder, maybe start thinking about alternative fuel straps potentially. I mean, we have seen the undercut work this season already.
Yeah, I think the undercut might be in play today. And yeah, it's when you get contact in the middle of the pack, that's kind of where those gaps seem to come from. And the one thing we haven't mentioned, we keep talking about every week, is you get off track here and it's all sand, and sand is not, with the changes for iRacing with their surfaces, you're going to be really slow, and it's going to be you're going to be very off the pace trying to get back on track.
So we're seeing a replay now. So this is what's happened to Dominic Howander. So he's lost place to Jorg Marni behind him. Oh,
there you see it. Yep, there you see it, and just how much speed he loses. Look at the gain that the cars behind are making on him, just zip by. And so that's just a part of the new frictioning, the surface modeling that iRacing's implemented.
You probably would have got away with that previously, wouldn't you? Or certainly, you would have been able to defend the position to Marni, who practically just walked past him.
If you can manage to keep it going the proper direction, you run into the wall. I think that's the downside of that is, as we see, this is all kind of concrete on the outside here. Yeah, if you manage to keep it off the wall, yeah, you could absolutely maintain some speed out there. But that's not happening anymore.
A little move up the inside there for Kabanka to reclaim third place in Overstreet. Switching around, no real defence there from Overstreet. Says to Kabanka, go on, off you go. Try and follow you through here as they try to, chip away at that gap. 3 seconds to the top two right now, Charles.
Yes, it's 3 seconds, but still 30 minutes left in the race, so they obviously have time. But obviously, those guys obviously were setting really, really quick lap times. The front row of the grid from qualifying. So, I don't know that anybody's got the pace to get back up there. We'll see. It's just we'll see how it works. It just takes one little slip on the track. Those guys. Burkhardt goes wide through 1 and 2, and Tabino, gets a little, just kind of follows him around and maybe follows him off the track, and the next thing you know, you've got a 4-car battle up there.
Now, Sabino's not always been the best on pit strategy. Or compare card with being a bit of a newcomer to this. What's his going to be like? I think that's going to be the only saving grace for Cabanca and Overstreet, certainly. I think realistically, looking at the time difference, you've got Marnie and co. They're a further 4 seconds back to that second group of Cabanca and Overstreet. I can't see, even with a bit of luck going on from the side, and Bergard Sabino really messing up fuel threats. Oh, that is Chris Scriven around, and I don't think he's done it by himself either.
That's a... Let's see. Did he get some help? Let's see, we got a car coming to the inside. Yeah, he just did. Yeah, I think he's maybe just kind of missed his brake mark and kind of locked it down and looped it, as we see Ogbert off the track.
Oh, that's beached of it. Oh, look, it's train.
Oh no!
Oh,
yeah. Oh, that's horrible.
Stuck. Just about to turn that right rear, but he's going to try and unwedge himself here. Otherwise, it's. I mean, if we had safety cars in road racing, that
would definitely be one. Yeah, that would definitely be a safety car. Yep, he's had to tow it. So, see how he manages to accomplish that. There's very few places on these tracks that you can beach it. It's obviously I've seen it before. I think I've probably done it once or twice. Oh, so he gets a little tap in the left rear. That gets him up off the track, and it's just trying to get back on the track.
He brakes for the traffic coming up the road, trying to do the honourable thing, but in doing so, beaches himself. Oh dear.
That is bizarre. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
It's the beauty of us watching and commentating on so many of these races, isn't it? You think you've seen everything, and then someone surprises you, just like I'd never seen someone nearly bin it coming down pit road. Normally it's in this tight curve part, but Stevie Ray trying to reinvent new ways to lose it coming out of the pits here at Laguna Seca.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. The exit here is pretty tricky. Just on pit exit road itself, and then trying to navigate your way back onto the track with traffic is also challenging.
So Bridge are trying to defend right now from Bottas, who's just behind. Two Americans scrapping out over 20th. I'm taking you on classes right now. Andrew Bennett leads Spec 2 after, well, the unfortunate Ogburn beaching his car there, and it's looking like it, well, actually, no, someone's sitting and waiting in the pits, so that's why he hasn't got going again yet. Then it's Aris and the Bruges to run on the podium, but they're well down in comparison to Bennett. They are currently residing 17th and 18th. There's 9 spots, though. Good, solid results so far. However, it's the Masters drivers that are holding that on. So the top 3 places in terms of positions climbed. You've got Murakami, who's 3rd in class, 30 overall, at 11. Then Brendel and Tom, so 6th and 7th in class, 22nd and 23rd respectively, both up 10. But your podium is Marnie, Gassius, and Murakami. You can see right there. As Murakami's trying to take on Jacobson just in front of us. Change for position overall, but not in class. Called Jacobson. Red marker next to his name, denoting he is in Spec 1.
Yeah, this is kind of a little two-car. Oh, as we see another with Fernandez and Bottas. Oh, looks like they had a little collision. And that was just I'd say that was necessarily an unsafe rejoin, but you have to give the driver coming through has got to be a little aware, because I think he was rolling in the proper direction, and maybe I'm not sure how that was how that all occurred, but that's obviously just a little spin, too much mustard through there, and then Bottas says I can do that too, and then they try and collect each other as they rejoin. Yeah, and okay, so there it was. So Fernandez got restarted and then tried to move over to let the car coming go by, and they both moved at the same time. So that was the issue with that.
Yeah, it's tripping up over one another there, that's for certain. Just trying to work it. So yeah, so that group is, you can see on the screens right now, because I was thinking, well, hold on a minute, Brendel and Toms, they sailed past these guys, but they've lost some time on track as well because of it. Right now means we've got our tightest, biggest group on screen right now, 20th through to 24th. Fernando, Stevens, Bottas, Brendel and Toms all scrapping it over 20th, and positions in classes available. And there's 3 of these drivers, the 3 at the front of it are on Spec 2, and Brendel and Toms both being in the Masters category.
Yeah, you definitely just want to keep racing at this point, and just, because it seems like that there's some mistakes that are still yet to be made during this race. So the more you can keep the car on the track and keep your keep it clean, the chances are really good to move up a few spots.
So we're moving up spots. There's Oliver, past Jacobson, who then has Wenger. He's driving a bit of anger right now. Caught up in issues where not being his fault today. Better drivers to come through the field with Oliver. Those two definitely will be working together until we get deeper into this race, and then the gloves will definitely be coming up between those two as they start scrapping away more and more so.
For sure, Wenger obviously thinks he should be much higher up the grid because that's where he started, and then we had the little unfortunate spin at the beginning of the race. So he's absolutely driving a little not a little over aggressive. We'll say aggressively. He's trying to make his way up and gain as many spots back as he can. And we're at the 18-minute mark of the race, and I haven't seen our normal first pitter yet, which is normally Stevie Ray. So maybe the undercut, not a good idea. Is he already pitted?
According to producer Samuli, yes, he has.
Oh wow, he pitted on lap 8, so he pitted 5 laps ago. So yeah, I'm fully expecting to start seeing people coming into the pits anytime.
Yes. I'm fascinated for a few of these to see how they play out. Whether we have drivers, covering off one another, or we have people, going 1 lap longer. Maybe the competitors. Not too sure how this one's going to play out.
Oh, sure. Yep.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yep. And I missed it also. There's Benna around.
Now, we didn't miss it, as Smigley's just rightly pointed out, because we talked about how he had that massive tank slapper coming out the pits.
We didn't miss it. I just forgot about it. So
yeah, we've had so much happen, to be fair. Can you tell I'm backpedaling, trying to cover us over here? Yeah. I mean, it has been action-packed, no less. I mean, 19 minutes in, 1 minute off the halfway mark now. And well, there's only, Charles, 4 drivers who are currently in the position where they started. In the form of Kabanka, Hamada, Green and Degassis. There is Kabanka, who's switched around with Overstreet a few times anyway, so has dipped in and out of that club, so to speak. In terms of retirement so far, Perez, we lost him on lap 8. Ogburn, after beaching it, has decided not to come out again on lap 7. That was Richard Coffey on lap 2. Disappointing for Richard, who obviously was a little bit out of position, then had a really good start, and then it all fell apart for him. Saginelli, Epe and Saunders did not take to the start of the race. So 6 drivers down, although technically only really 3. There's 36 entries, but only 33 starters.
Yeah, so we were talking about Kabanka and Overstreet swapping positions. Their lap times are actually getting really close to the 2 leaders. I wonder if this is kind of the leapfrog from draft to draft, and they're just kind of helping each other along, and it's actually moving them a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit closer to those 2 lead cars.
Well, in fact, last time around, Overstreet did set the fastest lap of the race, Charles. So quite possibly they're just, metaphorically pushing each other along right now. As I mean, Overstreet was 2 tenths faster than our top two last time around. It'll be interesting when they come across the line this time. Allowed.
Great catch. That was a great catch. That's a very quick corner coming at the bottom of the hill there. That right-hander that leads you down to the final corner of the track. And yeah, she was that was the limit, and she found it, but she was able to hold on to it as we see people coming to the pits.
Wenger, I think, maybe trying to, well, either outbraking himself on pit entry there, Oliver just in front of him, or trying to do the I was going to say the pass on the grass, but the pass in the sand here. So those two rolling down pit road together, looking like they're just having a bit of a chat about how their race has gone.
Yeah.
Oh
And he missed
dear.
it. Had to back up a little bit.
So that is a shame. So this is on board with Wenger.
We didn't mention this pit entry that when we were talking about Sandown last week. This is obviously very similar. There's no elevation, but it's a 90-degree right-hander or left-hander right in there, and you have to be when you get to those cones, you have to be at the pit speed, and it's sometimes difficult to judge. I mean, if you don't believe me, just ask Roman Grosjean.
Yes, that is a very, very good point, that one. I think it's only really Spa that's worse.
I would agree with that.
Answers on a postcard if you can think of any worse ones than pit but entries or exits. Spa is pretty treacherous on both, with this tight left-hander and then a right-hander on the exit. Or midway through the pits if you're using the endurance ones, but... Mr. Gassis, second in Masters. Marnie obviously leading that class. 5 places into 5th is Marnie. Leapfrog to Gassis, who was the top of the qualifiers in Masters category. There's Michael McCollum just behind him at this stage of the race, lap 16. 23 minutes complete, as that is Andrew Bennett in from the lead of Spec 2. Oh wow, with a uneventful pit stop hopefully ensuing for Bennett. You can't see anything but him emerging after the pit stops are cycled through to come back out into the lead.
Yeah, I think his lead for the Spec 2 was pretty commanding. So unless there's a major issue, I would think he's coming back out once the cycle's done, back out on top in class.
Wow.
We say that, and it's,
Oh, Wenger has come back into the pits, Charles. And so has Oliver.
Interesting.
Yes. I'm not sure what's happened to that.
He got to stop it though, because it was a 1.5 second
Well,
stop.
it would. Wenger seemed to pull alongside, alongside Oliver, which did make me wonder. Well, if you sped in the pits, did he get unsafe pit entry where he was on the gravel? I'm not sure. But then why's Oliver come back in?
That's very interesting.
Well, and just heading out, right? You'll see him on the right-hand side of your screen there. Heading back out again, so disastrous race for the pair of them.
Yeah, for sure. This is not a race you want to try and make 2 pit stops in. We were talking about Benna earlier and how he should have a commanding lead once his pit cycle's done. His stop time was 22 seconds, which is much higher than everybody else. We see Benjamin Harris around.
Well, he was running second before Benna took to the pits, Charles. So that's going to help Benna.
Yeah, for sure.
His FF3 claim lead. Bruges still in pit road, so yeah, he's looking good for that one. Sky Randall up 15 spots.
So we're kind enough to put up the number of stops that each car's made for the race. You still have the top 14 still have the spots, as well as Brindle and P17.
Brando, well, that's why he's up 15 spots to German at this stage of the race. So Andrew Bennett looking comfortable right now to reclaim that lead, although it's going to be a little bit closer than what maybe we saw before the pit stop started happening. But while we've been talking about this, Charles, Burkhardt is pulled out a 1.8 second lead on Fabino. He was lost quite a bit of time somewhere. I'm not sure whether it's just actually. Well, looking at his last lap time, only 300ths a second separating the pair of them.
Yeah, I wonder if Samula can give us a lap comparison to see if there's maybe an issue that Tabino had on one of these last few laps that's caused this.
It's got to be that. Oh wow! I don't know whether it's consistent. But there you go. Just went for that little bit of a stint there. 14, 15, half a second, and then 3 tenths. It's ebbing and flowing, but it's definitely ebbing and flowing more the way of Morgan Burkhardt at this stage of the race. As there comes Sabino into the pits. Interesting.
His stop. As we're getting down here to the short end of this race here.
And why that's interesting for me, Charles, is because Sabino sat in the draft of Burkhardt for quite a while.
He did.
So I would have thought he would have gone longer. I mean, just having a bit of a look. They are encroaching on more and more traffic, so it's whether he's elected to be, maybe to see, there's some, pockets of traffic out there for our leaders. Currently, Burkhardt has lapped everyone up to and including B. Well, Antonio Race. How many times have we ever said that?
I don't think I've ever said that.
I think maybe the last time I said that was probably, you're talking about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years, where he used to be electric in qualifying. But just always had either bad luck or just lacked the race pace in the SRF Weekend Warriors. But he's turned that all completely around, but today is just not his day. The race is on board with Overstreet right now. Kabanka just in front of us. And
I wonder if these two cars working together can maybe close up Burkhardt in the pits and Overstreet in the pits.
Well, to finish off your point, Charles, they're not working together anymore, are they?
They're not. And I was going to say, I wonder if the two car draft was going to help them maybe close the gap a bit to Burkhardt since he was out by himself after Tabino pitted, but that's a moot point here now. So
Tabino came back out in 8th place. There comes Yogmani into pit road and pulls up at his box. Take on some more fuel. Burkhardt gets going again. Now, where is Tabino? That is the question. At least he's coming out of the final corner. Ooh. So I think this could be even a bigger lead here for Morgan Burkhardt.
We'll see how he handles the exit of the pits. Looks like that was successfully done. But yeah, 2.5 second gap back to Tabino.
Which must mean that Tabino got caught in traffic because Burkhardt stopped Charles. Well, this is where it's a stat to tell you two different stories here. So Tabino was stopped stationary for 1.2 seconds less than Burkhardt, but yet the whole traversing down pit road, including stopping, Burkhardt was overall faster by 2 to 3 tenths.
I think that is the indication of a pro driver out on the track who has worked pit entry and exit, and he's got his timings down, to 1/10 of a second as far as how deep he can go before he brakes and how much he can take, coming in and going out. So I think that just may be an experience thing more than anything else.
Top 4 head down pit road as they are on track at the moment. Kabanka, Hamada, Green and McConnell as that's Tabino widen. with that, surely goes his chance of winning here today. Burkhardt leads Sabino. Well, where is he going to emerge? Well, the answer to that is in second. Next question, how big is that gap going to be as Kabanka, the rears up on Jax Charles. Looks like someone's taking on tyres.
It does indeed. And he's only looks like it only took rears. Let's see what his stop was 33.5 seconds. So,
that says to me, Charles, maybe he's taking all four.
That may be. Maybe so, but it obviously takes him out of that battle with Overstreet, who's now has her sights set on Tabino, who's 1.2 seconds ahead.
Wow, this changes things quite a bit, doesn't it?
It does.
Also, Hamada is very close to Overstreet too, but he's closed that gap up a lot during the round of pit stops. Gas is very close to McConnell too. They've got Kabanka in the fight with them as well. Jason has Ray and Murakami behind him. So Ray, despite the early stop, Charles, it looks like it's worked for him because
it does.
He's leapfrogged Murakami to get up into third.
Yeah, he's up into third. Murakami's right behind him, and they're behind Jacobson. So it's that's obviously not a battle for class in front, but it is behind. So now it's for that final step on the podium. See if Murakami can get by Stevie before the end of this race.
It's going to be challenging, to say the least, but time still on their side at 7.5 minutes left remaining here. Round 5, Laguna, Staker in the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors here on Apex Racing TV. So Marnie still leads Masters, Degassis and Ray running out your podium there. But Bruges off the track. That is from third in Spec 2. He's down in 20th, but has a healthy gap of 14 seconds to Philip Fernandez, who's 21st overall and 4th in class. That is Ray Oliver parking it by the looks of things.
It does indeed. Yep, just a toe back. Yeah, now that everything's settled out, the gap from Bennett to Harris is 6 seconds, or 5 seconds, I should say. So still got a good lead to be leading the class.
It just shows that mistake that he made, how much it's cost him, because I think he was leading the class by right about 12 to 13 seconds, if memory serves me right.
Yeah, I think that's right. So yeah, it's obviously tightened it up, but it's still, Harris has got a lot of work to do if he's going to try and catch Bennett before the end of this race.
So he's still scrapping our way. We head into the business end of the race. Just keeping half an eye on those gaps for you. So Tabino's managed to eke out another 3 or 4 attempts over Overstreet. As Green sliding his way past Hamada there. As Green up into 4th. So get quiet to Jason Green before the pit stops, after as he's come alive realistically after they finished.
Yeah, he's haven't really talked about him today, but he's one of those cars that we normally see up front.
Ooh,
and is
Charles.
Just yep.
That's Andrew Bennett, who's leading Spec 2. I can see he's not now. I think we're about to find out why.
Yep. He just kind of missed that first apex of the corkscrew and then had to wait on traffic.
There goes Benjamin Harris into the lead of Spec 2, no less.
Well, that was, I just said he had work to do, and that was pretty easy work by all accounts. Is just keep driving around and wait for the guy leading to make a mistake.
This will be Harris's first winner of the season in Spec 2.
Yeah, Bennett has managed to get back going, and he's about 2.5 seconds behind Harris. There's 2 Masters drivers, Nelson and Wolbolt, between them. So it's still a possibility for, as we see Kabanka just a little wide there. I think he kind of misjudged that. Yeah, he's having a little trouble there with that car in front. Is that
Gatis,
Degassis?
yes, and McConnell then in front of him. Well, they're tripping up over one another, and he's losing a lot of time and just can't seem to carry that momentum through. Find the right channel to slot his car into to start passing these drivers, which is clearly, in this stage of the race, faster than. There you go, into turn one, well, turn two, official, up the inside. That is Degassis dispatched off. Next up is McConnell, who, being a Spec 1 driver as well, like Cabanca, I think he might put a little bit more of a fight over 8th place than Cabanca had against Degassis for 9th.
Yeah, I think so. I think, obviously it's not going to be one of those he's just going to stop and pull over and let the guy go by. He's going to try and stay in that position if he can.
Wow, we have got 3.5 minutes remaining here. Too sure where that time's gone, if I'm honest. Just feel that long ago since we're saying, we're just approaching half race distance now.
For sure. Let's give a shout out to Thomas Renders in P7. He's up 6 spots. He's having a good race, a quiet race, which is sometimes better than anything else.
So quiet. I don't think we've even mentioned him so far this evening. There he is.
Yeah, just circulating around the track, keeping his car clean, and trying to get these last 3 minutes or so done.
Inside the top 10, we've got 2 battles emerging. This is one of them. Who are these? So imagine these 3 have been all nose to tail for the last couple of laps. Cabanca finally clears the last of them in the form of Michael McConnell in the end. Relatively easy, but runs it in deep and could lose 2 places here.
Yeah, so that was as we see, looks like, is he gonna get through? Yeah, he did get through that time. So he just waited for the track to come to him and was able to make that pass stick finally. And now Degassis and McConnell are battling, and that's going to help out Cabanca for sure.
It's going to allow him just to scamper away up off the track and put some fresh air between himself and these 2. The other battle we've got going on is Overstreet versus Hammander over the last place in the podium overall. Oh, sorry, apologies. Hammander's next to Green. Apologies. I've read that. My eyes have deceived me when I was following the lines across on our live timing. So it's okay. So Overstreet looking good for that 3rd place, but Hammander right now not so sure about 4th place because Jason Green is really breathing down his neck.
Yeah, it's a really tight battle here at the end of the race, which is good. It's something to keep an eye on here as we see Green. Yeah, he's Green's, like I said, had another one of those quiet races where normally he's up in the front battling, but he was a little further back today, but he's worked his way up to the top 5 and seen if he can get another spot before the race is done. Antonio Race here on screen, fighting with Jim Brewster.
Yeah, they're close come the end of the race. It's like an accordion, isn't it? Everyone just sort of spaces out, and then come the end, we're building to a crescendo, and they all come together. It's Ray trying to find that outside line, trying to get it to work for him. This is against Jacobson, and he's going to get it to lovely.
He's got it, yeah. Yeah, that move, that outside in between turn 2 and turn 3 looks like it's working quite well.
But he's not clear of him, Joe Charles.
No, he's not. And this is what he needs right here. He needs these cars side by side through the corner. And a little wheel touch there. That's going to help him just eke out a little more gap as we pass a lapped car. Still fighting. Yeah, Murakami's still trying to find his way around Jacobson. Try and get back up there to battle Ray.
I say he's going to get it done. He needs to get it done because that clock is now running into overtime. And they've got this lap plus 1 more lap to complete.
I think this is going to be for the leader, this is the white flag lap.
I was looking at it. I'm not sure. Yeah. It's very close. We'll find out when he comes up to the line.
We will indeed. We will indeed. Yeah, it was. We did hear from somebody. This is the last lap. So, So yep. So this is Burkhardt safely out in front. Tabino second, Overstreet third. Still got that battle between Hamilton and Green for the top 5. And just like we've seen the timing tower change, and Murakami's got by Jacobson. Or has he? Yes, he has.
Running out of time. Well, run out of time and running out of opportunities now, aren't they?
Well, I'm going to say the gap's now 5 seconds between Ray and Murakami and Jacobson. So I'm going to say they had a little issue at some point on the track.
Very close.
Well, it's the winner.
I didn't even realise it was him, mate.
Take the win.
Out in front, so far in front. He wins over Tabino. I was looking at the battle. This battle has been going back and forth, and Green leapfrogging everyone here. He's going to finish up 3 places in 4th. Overstreet completes your podium. There's your money with the win in Masters. Gaseous will come along this line in 2nd in class. Oh, there's Murakami. He's 3rd. Right. Can he lose any more places? There goes Harris. Bennett and then Walbot. But those two very close together. Should be okay, though.
Yeah, that gap's, I think, enough at this point. Did Murakami just decide to pit?
See. Okay. If he's got a penalty to serve, he won't be able to serve it.
No. I thought they'll be, normally that will be converted to a time penalty by iRacing, but not sure what they do for the league, to be fair. But that did secure Stevie Ray with the 3rd place in Masters. And
just need to say, Benjamin Harris styling out the win there with the slide, the drift, nearly the 360 across the line to win a Masters. First win of the season. I'm trying to think if that's his best win ever in the Formula 4.
Is he out of fuel?
Yep. I think it's just the relentless pace that Burkhardt put on display here today. I think that's just what's maybe pushed it an extra lap. Because when they came across the line, trying to judge it, and it was incredibly close.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. But that did drop that, running out, that dropped Fernandez out of the podium for Spec 2 and elevated Stevens up to 3rd in Spec 2.
Yes, it did, didn't it? Wow, all change. The depth. Let's get you some classified results. Mark Burkhardt wins here in the Formula 4 Weekend Warriors from Laguna Seca. Tabino in the end only good enough for 2nd. Overstreet up to 3rd. 2 places in the end for her. Then we had Jason Green, and then your winner in Masters, Yogmani. Hamada Renders Kabanka. A disastrous pit stop really cost him dear. He finishes 8th. Then the gas is 2nd in class. McConnell running out his top 10. Ray onto the podium in Masters and finishing 11th. Then Jackson. Then our top 2. A mistake late on from Bennett cost him dearly. And that allowed Benjamin Harris to claim the victory here today, with Bennett finishing just behind him in 14th. Then we've got Warbolt, Brewster, Race, Stevens. As you rightly pointed out there, Charles, nicking it at the death because for Fernandez ran out of fuel. Those two 18th and 19th respectively, 3rd and 4th in class. Murakami running out the top 20. Last driver on the lead lap. 1 lap down, we had Nelson, Verbruge, Montgomery, Bottas, Brendel, Scriven, Webber 5 laps down. In fact, we're into the retirements now. So Webber lost on lap 22. Oliver on lap 20, Toms on lap 19, Vega on lap 15, and then lap 8 was Perez, lap 7 Ogburn, Coffey on lap 2, Santinelli, Saunders, and Jean-Paul Lepe did not make the start. Let's have a bit of a chat to some of our drivers, and well, that not a bad day at the office. Morgan Burkhardt joins us now. Morgan, I mean, you made that look like a bit of a walk in the park.
Well, it definitely wasn't. The first 6 or 7 laps were a bit sketchy. I didn't get the car to come up real quick, and I was kind of just holding on for dear life, trying to keep it on the black stuff. But the last 20 or so, the car hooked up really well. I got pretty lucky with the pit stop, nailed that, and yeah, just smooth sailing, being consistent, and making sure I hit all my marks.
I mean, on the pit stop, I mean, Gio Tobino was stationary for about 1.3 seconds less than you. However, the way you just, I mean, must have absolutely nailed it. It meant that actually overall, throughout the pit stop, you were actually quicker because your pit entry and exit. I'm guessing that must be something you've been putting a lot of practice into.
No, actually, I've I've had
just make everyone depress Morgan. Go for it.
I don't know. I usually do pretty well with the pit entry, pit exit kind of things, and I've had some practice with that a few seasons ago with the Jetta Cup cars. But yeah, I kind of just treat it like an extra corner, and usually it ends up okay.
Well, it did for you today. Absolutely dominant display in the end. Morgan Burkhardt, congratulations. A victory here from Laguna Seca.
Thank you very much.
Charles, who have you managed to grab for a chat?
Well, let's talk to our Masters class winner, Mr. Jorg Monty. Jorg. So the race was a little hectic there at the start, and we had a couple of gaps opened up really early from some spins up to the front of the pack. So how did it look from your out of your visor?
Good evening, first of all, and thank you for having me here. And it was actually quite pleasant. I was a little bit shaking at the start because I haven't done any laps this week at all on this track, and like on the SRF track as well, nothing because I had holidays. And but otherwise, it was quite a fun. Except I don't know how to train those bloody pit stops, but I think I have to do something now. Otherwise, it was fun.
Well, I'll give you the what the race winner just told us. He said he just treats it like another corner, and it seems to work out for him. So,
all right, thank you.
so yeah, it was so congratulations on your win. It's back to form for you, top 5 overall, and look forward to seeing you in the next race.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in it. So thanks a lot, guys.
All right.
And we've got just enough time to squeeze in our third place finisher. Megan Overstreet joins us now. Megan, it seemed like a bit of a challenge out there today, especially with the car. I know you like drifting it, but we caught you a few times on camera. Nearly losing it.
Oh, it was so fun driving this car around Laguna Seca. Like, to go fast, you do have to be sliding and making good corner entries, which I got the second part right, but not the first part most of the time. So I was struggling a little bit there for most of the race until after pit stops, where I'd finally gotten settled down and was doing half decent, but the lap down traffic made it very difficult to fight with Yale there at the end, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, let's just talk about that traffic. I mean, I was surprised that the amount of people that managed to fall a lap down here today. Did you tend to find that with certain corners that it was more treacherous with the traffic than others, or was it just in general?
Mostly in general, but the corkscrew was definitely the worst place to get a lap down car. When I was catching Yao, a lap down car missed the entry on the corkscrew. So I went to their inside and they just cut down right in front of me, so I had to slam on my brakes, and we barely avoided killing each other where we got a 0x, but that lost me a second and a half on Yao, and there was no making that up.
Well, congratulations on the podium, and not a bad day at the office overall. All things considered, that is a Megan Overstreet. That's all we've got time for here today for now from the Formula Fords. But coming up in a little bit, about 40 minutes time, myself and Charles will be back for the SRS. Make sure you join us for that one. But well, Laguna Seca, it's an absolutely iconic track. It pulled out some iconic displays. We'll see you in a week's time for the Formula 4s when we return at Mid-Ohio, no less. That's going to be an interesting one to say the least as part of this, well, triple header of American tracks in the series. But for now, for myself, Tim Cox, Charles Pascal and Samina Kume, thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you in a week's time.